Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello. It's Wednesday, the 24th of July. Chris Potter, editor of Pittsburgh City Paper, is here today, at the day when his paper hits the streets, as they say. I haven't seen it yet.
Not me either.
Oh, you have? Yeah, well.
When it's out,
Okay.
I'm just like,
Okay.
I want to look at it.
Well, we got lots of news today, so let's.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, the big story is the baby. What baby?
Oh yeah, the kid. What did they give a name to it yet?
No.
Really?
Listen,
No.
I'm sure everybody seems annoyed about that. I'm sure they have a name. They're just playing it. You know, they're playing the. Come on, you think they didn't have a name? You know, the poor kid is going to get saddled with a name like George James. George James Arthur Edward.
Yeah.
It goes on and on and on.
Yeah. Do they have to name him like? Did they have to give him a king name used before?
Yeah, absolutely. His name can't be like
Ralph.
Chad.
Ralph. King Ralph. People wouldn't be into that too much.
But,
Wayne. Wayne is another name that won't be happening.
Bruce.
King Wayne. King Bruce? No, that's like a Scottish thing, huh? I don't think you want to give him a Scottish name.
Why not?
I don't know, because then you got all that separatist fervor. Yeah, maybe not for long.
Okay. But meanwhile, you came in and you said, you got to see this, or hear this more than anything, right?
Yeah.
It's a rant by who?
By this guy who you've never heard of before. This is a police chief. His name is Mark Kessler, and he's a police chief in Gilberton, Pennsylvania, which I have no idea. It's some little podunk town. And he's become just a viral sensation for a pair of YouTube videos he put out. And I didn't get a chance your computer loads up so slow that I didn't get a chance to play these for Lynn before, but it's
So I said, well, play it now.
So play it. So the first it's the bottom one that I started there.
Oh,
scroll down, and if you push that little arrow,
okay,
and then hopefully people will be able to pick.
Do you think our audio is all the way up?
I don't know. You could click on that there. Yeah, that's as high up as that goes.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. This is a minute and a half.
I don't know what this is.
It's a minute and a half, and it really picks up in the last 15 seconds.
Okay, so this is the mayor of...
No, there's a police chief.
Police chief.
Even more alarming, actually. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
Here we go.
I don't know what we're about
Police
to hear.
Chief Mark Kessler.
Here we go.
I want to make this video today because they're at it again. They just don't know when to quit. And neither do we.
Yeah.
Kerry says...
Who?
John
US
Kerry.
will sign UN treaty
Secretary
on
of State.
arms regulations despite lawmakers' opposition.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he's a gun nut.
Oh, yeah. Just wait.
He's mad at Kerry.
Secretary of State John Kerry. That piece of shit traitor.
Fought in Vietnam.
Who is he to decide?
Oh.
Is this how long?
We can and can't own.
Just wait.
It's...
And fuck the UN. Who are they to decide what we, the American people, can own?
Yeah.
I have a message to Kerry.
Yeah.
And to these cocksuckers over in the UN.
Police chief.
Here's your fucking agreement. Sign anything you want to sign.
He's
Not
ripping.
gonna mean
He's
shit.
ripping it up.
It don't fucking mean shit to me.
Ready? Here's where it gets
You know what I
lively.
have to say? Come and take it, motherfucker!
Watch this.
Come and get it!
And that's it. He walks off the stage. This is a police chief wielding a fully automatic assault rifle. And then the other... Oh, Mark Kessler, you are a bad man. Oh. And then he releases this other video, which is a little longer and isn't worth playing.
Okay.
But he's like, oh, I understand some of you were offended, blah, blah, blah. I'm certainly, I want to apologize, da-da-da. And then he's like, ha, just kidding. And then he like gets another gun and he's like,
oh my God.
This is the police chief. The police chief of, hold on, I want to make sure I get the town right.
Gilberton,
so those of us listening don't ever go there by accident. I think I might have accidentally just started that again. Yeah, I did, I'm afraid.
Okay,
so.
Gilberton,
Pennsylvania.
He said this is a video showing his First and Second Amendment rights.
Yeah.
Well, that is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
It's like, what do you have to do to like not be a traitor to these people? A guy fought in Vietnam, for crying out loud.
Yeah. So
the other thing is, it's just like I really have no idea what he's talking about. But
something about
any treaty needs to be ratified by the Senate. So the notion that John Kerry is is somehow going to force a treaty on us without any lawmaker's approval, which is what he said there. It just doesn't even make any sense. And this is the law enforcement of Gilberton, Pennsylvania. This is their chief of police.
Here's what he says in his defense. You don't see me going out and dragging people out of their vehicles and beating on them. You don't see me doing anything like that.
Right.
Did I use some vulgar language? Absolutely. Is it my right to do that? Absolutely. It's the First Amendment. Did I fire off a gun? Absolutely. I don't think we'll get an apology from this guy.
Come and get it, motherfuckers! It's just like, I don't know.
I'm sorry.
What are you, 8? Are you 8 years old?
I was thinking we needed to ratchet up the audio initially.
No, it was good at the end.
But then, because my God, what was that at the end when he went nuts? Oh, dear God in heaven. Here, yeah, we're laughing, but the fact is these are the people. These are the ones.
Yeah.
They're killing us.
It's just like,
they're just killing us.
that is like an 11-year-old boy response. That is what that is.
Well, but that's the level of maturity that a lot of these people evince.
Right. I gather you were talking about militarization of police in recent days here.
Yes, did you see? Actually, there was why was I talking? The Times, I think, had an incredible story.
Oh, yeah, they've actually been running that on a website, installments of it. It's from that guy's book about the SWATification of
Well, it's just beyond belief. Yeah. And once you're tuned into it, you start... You notice a little item, police, black-clad, armor-wearing police, serving a warrant on so-and-so, and there's always it's like just serving a drug warrant.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
Well, and they sometimes, unfortunately, end up killing innocent people. And the article also pointed out that Gilberton probably has a SWAT team.
Yeah,
every little hamlet.
Yeah.
And that's our tax dollars handing it out like candy, the Department of Homeland Security and the DEA. And Tom wrote back that the Times talked about how this started up with Nixon's war on drugs, and Reagan really ratcheted it up. And he says these police departments are incentivized to go after the drug cases instead of other kinds of crime, because if they show that they're busting dealers or something, the DEA just throws money at them to get more toys.
There's also the incentive of what they call civil asset forfeiture, which is you can basically seize the property of people, actually without even convicting them. suspected drug dealers. You can seize their cars, their
How
cash,
is this
whatever.
American?
And then
I
you
mean,
use that.
What?
Because it's actually interesting the way
That's not a violation of what
No, because this is the way civil asset
Fourth Amendment.
forfeiture laws are written is it's an offense committed by the property. And it's a civil proceeding. No. I'm not making this up. So if you look,
property
you
can commit an offense
if it's tainted by drug money. So when you look at these cases, and I have done this, I've written about these cases, you will see a case like this: United States government versus one 2007 Mercedes SEL sedan, or Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus $11,122.17. Like, that is an actual case caption. You will see that it is a civil charge against the property seized. That's what those cases are.
Where did that start? Where did that
with the war on drugs?
Yes,
with the
but
war on drugs.
Somebody had to decide that was legitimate.
Yeah,
that
because you can justify
take on a chest of drawers.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Chest of drawers against Chester drawers. No, I mean that's the thing. You sell people on this thing that they're supposed to be terrified of. You scare the bejeebers out of them, and they will let you pretty much do anything to make them feel safe. Yeah.
God.
The
fear industry.
Yeah.
The fear industry is really one of the bigger ones going, because you could argue that much of the entertainment industry that purports to be, news gathering or something, is fueled by fear and anxiety production.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then there's an entire party called the Republican Party that is.
And then there's guys like that cop. I mean, think about that cop. Here's a guy.
He represents millions and millions and millions of Americans.
Except he's got a badge. And here's the thing that I find amazing. His job is to uphold law and order and the Constitution, and yet he doesn't even know the most basic thing about it, which is the Senate has to ratify a treaty. You think he's any better schooled on Fifth Amendment protections or Fourth Amendment against unreasonable search and seizure? He probably doesn't know any more about that stuff than Scalia does, for crying out loud.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Anyway, Gilbertville, Pennsylvania, little travel tip. Give it a wide berth.
Go.
Just give it a wide berth.
I just want to. I'm sorry. I actually have a lovely blue dress with polka dots on it, and I almost wore it today.
In honor of.
Well, so look. Did you see this on the? Man.
That was on the front page above the fold, right?
No.
Wasn't that photo? Oh,
no.
What are we looking at? Oh, we're looking. That's an ad? What is that?
That is a half-page ad.
Prince of Cambridge.
Celebrate the royal birth of the Prince of Cambridge.
So wait, they already got a doll out? We don't even know what the little...
What do you mean? What do you mean? As a matter of fact, the doll does look like sort of the kid. All kids look the same. You make a
He wasn't the... Yeah.
And people...
Creepy.
People buy this stuff. They didn't miss a beat. So this was ready to run the minute the... How much do you think that cost?
I don't know.
$150.
Oh, man.
A moment in history. Only for a limited time. Get it now. It's a hand... It comes with a certificate of authenticity. What? What does that mean?
It's authentically what?
Unbelievable.
Didn't we fight a war to get out from under this crap?
That's what I said. What is with these Americans going bonkers?
And that's the thing. You just front page above the fold photo of those two.
Well, almost the Wall Street Journal had this nice picture of them on the front page. Everybody did, but I saw the New York Times would not stoop.
Yes. We also did not put
you didn't
them
either?
on our front page,
right,
I'd like to say. So
well,
we have
the New
same
York Times would not
judgment.
stoop. Instead, it just frustrated anybody who wanted to get a picture. They did put a picture on the front page, but it was a picture so far back that the couple, the royal couple, looked like this big, and it was really a picture of the media horde and him standing in the middle of it.
Good for them.
Oh, come on. What's big show?
The funny thing is, the royal couple actually is only that big. A lot of people don't realize.
The royal couple.
All those royalty, European royalty are only like 6 inches tall.
That poor kid. He's got more hair now than he probably ever will most of his life.
Hey.
Well, I mean, really, he's going to be bald.
So, you can be bald and still lead a fulfilling life. Last acceptable prejudice.
Oh, you know how many. Okay, let's count up the last acceptable prejudices. Seriously.
Let's not.
Fat people.
Yeah.
Bald people.
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah.
What else has been called?
Nobody knows the
trouble I've seen. Nobody knows but Jesus. I can't believe I hit that note. I hit that note.
Yeah.
What is it?
You hit it the way a car hits a pedestrian.
I know, but I hit it. It was relatively on key. I'm just thinking the range. That was a low note. I'm a female,
So I've been given to understand.
Yeah, a little dried up, but I am.
Jesus.
Okay, I was almost brought to tears by the generosity of UPMC. Did you see what they're doing?
I haven't seen their latest.
Oh, they're going to help the Kazakhstan.
Oh, good. Good.
Build a medical school. I was thinking, listen, you SOBs, why don't you just help the people of Braddock get health care? Well, I'm serious.
Yeah.
I hate them.
What do you got against Kazakhstani? Is that what they are? Kazakh. They're just Kazakhs, right? Yeah, that's all.
So anyway, I hate them. Granted, it's like it's an irrational kind of rage. But
it's really going to be a problem because everybody in Kazakhstan has Highmark. So I don't know what those folks are going to do.
I like that one, Mr. Potter.
Thank you.
Okay, so today, a lot of the people who work for UPMC are going to be out in the street.
Yes.
When is that happening?
There's this whole series of protests happening at various locations at various times. One has already gone off at the McDonald's on Smithfield.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're kind of going around to various places.
They're going to Target, going to UPMC to talk about, bring attention to what the people who are working in these places get paid. And I think it's pretty interesting when you see that, the janitors that clean up, the hundreds and hundreds of unseen people who clean the hotels and the hotel rooms, I guess housekeeping staff and all that. I mean, when they finally unionized, which wasn't terribly long ago, they saw their wages double. I just lost my audio. Double. Oh. Unbelievable. Oh, is that you?
That was him.
Yes. I'm sorry. Well, where am I? There. Okay. No, you did a little too hot. Okay, are we all okay now? I'm sorry. No. Sorry.
Yep.
And a little down. I'm sorry.
Had your decibel level double.
Okay. So their wages went from $7 an hour to 14 something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they unionized.
That's right. But
what?
So many of these other places. The other place they're doing is I think it's Capitol Grill. I think it might be. Which is sort of interesting to me. The folks who own them is this sort of restaurant chain called Darden, which a lot of people haven't heard about, and I kind of stumbled across them not long ago. Darden is actually, people should look them up. In the past few years, they've suddenly become big players in Washington, D.C. Kind of stumbled across them doing some other work on campaign contributions, and they are now second only to McDonald's as a source of restaurant industry contributions. So you've got two of these operators here, both being protested today, and both among the biggest donors to political candidates and elected officials in Washington, D.C.
And paying their workers pretty much slave wages. Oh, I hate these people. Anyway, I'm hating a lot of people.
You are.
I'm
angry.
I'm sorry.
You know what you need to do? Just fire off a few rounds.
I mean, I know. I remember at some hearing where some idiotic legislator of some type asked to witness. But I mean, what possible use is there? Why would you need to have a, can't use it for hunting? And the guy said, it relieves stress. And I suppose it does.
Yeah.
You pretend you're killing. You see, I say, I hate them, I hate them, I hate them. Well, what if, I would channel that and go shoot things?
Yeah.
Well, it is.
I'm sure it is. Although my thing would be here, have a cushy ball. Just maybe we should send those to that chief out there. It seems like he's under a lot of stress.
Something tells me it ain't gonna work. So he's probably a darling of the.
He is now, yeah. And of course, the more he's picked on and singled out, the more of a hero he becomes. There's no downside for these guys. That's the thing. I mean.
And if you look at him, by the way, he looks the part.
Yeah, he had those badass glasses.
He's sort of like good looking, like the way those people like to be good looking. Those people. I can't help it. I just can't help it. Okay, I'll tell you what. We're going to take a break, and then we've got lots of things to talk about. Yeah. Not the least of which is wiener.
Okay. I'm bracing for myself for it. Okay.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Take the break. Don't save it for the ring.
Okay, we'll get into wiener after this.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen live after this.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck for Dave 2037 so he can buy anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman. What are you getting Steve 2037?
Steve 2037 will be just fine.
Well, okay, but don't expect to borrow my anti-gravity boots.
Save something for the future. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1,000,000. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Go to bergbargains.com for great deals on gift cards from your favorite local restaurants, bars, museums, attractions, and shows. This week, great deals on Jerome Bettis Grill vouchers. Supplies are limited. bergbargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. bergbargains.com.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen live at pghcitypaper.com.
All right, so I was out to dinner with some friends, and somebody said, "So what do you think about wiener?" I said, and I was out of the loop. My God, I did. It was like, I remember being awakened by my radio alarm clock. This is years and years, 1968.
Okay.
And I was awakened by somebody talking about, and the assassination of Kennedy, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, what the hell are they talking about?
Yeah.
What are they talking about? The Kennedy assassination. It's not the... And then slowly through the fog of my trying to, wrestle myself into consciousness, I realized that, oh my God, they're talking about Robert. And but so if I'd heard this, I would think, wait a minute, didn't we?
Happily, the stakes are slightly lower this time around. There were some shots, but
one of my friends, who shall not be named, but called him a narcissistic psychopath.
Yep.
Or sociopath.
Yeah.
Do you think? He's got some serious disorders.
I think he's got some issues to work out. Sociopath feels a little loaded to me, but
narcissistic problem?
Sure. Yeah.
Can you imagine, after the ridicule you have been exposed to because of what you did, continuing to do it?
Yeah. Sure. I can't imagine that. I mean, look, if we're assuming that he's got some sort of issue and that it comes out of some need, some deeply seated need for him, right? So at the very moment he's most under stress, is it necessarily surprising that he falls back into the same pattern?
Are you talking about the same person I'm talking about? Are you talking about Carlos Danger?
Carlos Danger.
Is that you say to me? My God! That's the name.
I saw a tweet yesterday that was pretty good. It was, "Please, Mr. Danger is my father. Call me Carlos."
The woman that he was exchanging these.
Yeah, I was hoping she was going to be on the market, but it sounds like she's standing by her man.
No, I'm not talking about the wife. I'm talking about the recipient.
Yeah,
of his
who we don't
notice.
know who that is, right?
No, but she did say this in one of the back and forths. Your healthcare rants were a huge turn-on.
Man, why don't I ever meet women like this? Who are turned on by discussions of public policy.
And he
hey,
said,
baby. I've got some thoughts on tax increment financing I'd like to share.
that's right. I mean, he said something about like she was the fantasy from, she was the most extraordinary fantasy, blah, blah, blah. And there it is. He sends her a picture of his penis, and she sends back, your healthcare rants were turn on. And then all of a sudden he gets a little nervous. And listen to this. This is so funny. So he tweets, hey, can you do me a solid? Now, do you talk? Yeah. That's like what? That's Ebonics talk, right?
Ebonics, I think. But it's those things that have spread out.
What kind of middle-aged or whatever the hell he is, white Jewish New Yorker says, "Hey man, can you do me a solid?"
Oh yeah, that's just the way it goes.
Come on,
that's just the
it
spread
doesn't work coming out of his mouth.
Well,
Jess and you are both giving me trouble. Have you ever used that phrase?
All the time.
You do?
She does, yeah, Jess.
Do me
a solid.
A solid. And it means do me a favor.
A big favor.
A big favor.
Oh, it's a big favor?
Yeah.
And,
so what was he asking?
Well, what do you think? Could you delete all our chats?
Hard
delete. Not just
hard delete. The Anthony Weiner story. I don't always delete.
Okay.
But when I do it hard.
So you're good. You're on.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the power of 3 hours sleep. Really.
Okay. You can blame it on the kid again.
Yeah, I am absolutely going to blame it on the kid.
Okay. Well, his wife. I mean, what? Come on.
Well, I gather that they. I mean,
she's
from what I can tell,
a brilliant woman. Everybody
right.
says she's absolutely a brilliant woman.
But from what I can tell, and I haven't followed this obsessively, but I've seen enough to feel like this may be true. It seems like this thing, she knew what this was before, so the public didn't know, but she's not surprised by it, and she made the decision at some point in the past. It sounds like with that knowledge that this would happen, that this would happen, and that they end it, and it would go forward.
Why would she? Right there, I question her judgment.
Yeah, people do
what people do.
I mean, they have a child. Yes. So,
all the more reason not to do it.
I guess. I don't know.
I think all the more reason to go away quietly. And instead of that poor little boy will grow up, first of all, with the unfortunate name of Wiener. And then,
but she made that choice when she married him.
I don't think she took his name.
No, but she knew.
Yeah,
if she thought she was going to have kids, she knew she was condemning any children to the name Wiener.
Okay,
there you go.
David writes, tell that the chief of police, if he wants to relieve stress, he should buy a motorcycle. Or get a girlfriend, though they can be stressful. Or masturbate, though I bet he does enough of that already.
I kind of feel like that's what we were watching on YouTube, actually. Right. The funny thing is, this advice applies just as well to Anthony Weiner, perhaps.
Well, you don't want him to do that.
You don't want him to get a girlfriend. Yeah, that's true. They can be stressful.
I mean, the level of sort of denial of reality that he must live in.
Yeah.
Do you really think, can he win an election, even in New York now?
I don't know.
And poor Spitzer, did I just say poor Spitzer? Poor Spitzer was, of course, immediately asked about this.
Right.
And why should he be asked about it? Just because he's another... politician,
New York politician with the sex thing. Yeah. Yeah, well, what can you do?
Okay. Was that it for our Wiener?
I think so.
You don't have anything else to say?
I really don't.
Leave him alone.
I get probably all the newspapers, I think, are calling for him to back out of the race now, but I don't know. It just seems like this is the thing. Like what Republicans have learned is like if you just act like it doesn't matter. I mean, Mark Sanford won.
Yeah.
And there was a situation where that was. I mean, he wasn't texting after hours. That guy just flat out disappeared. Yeah. And yet he just got elected, right? So, I mean, he was poised to be elected to the.
And what about the Senator Vitter of the great state of Louisiana?
Yeah. I mean, why should they always get the advantage of the double standard and whatnot?
So, at any rate, I think the people should decide. He shouldn't drop out.
Yeah.
Let the people decide. Okay. Somebody just take his phone away.
Yeah, that would probably be a good step in the right direction.
Okay. So the FDA now is thinking they're going to ban menthol cigarettes.
Oh, yeah?
You didn't hear about that?
No. Why menthol as opposed to other
because they
kinds?
did ban all flavored cigarettes, and they gave menthol a pass. And now they're saying...
Hard to justify that?
Well, yes, and also because the mint, they've done scientific reviews that found that the mint flavor makes it easier to start smoking and harder to quit. And as a former smoker, who dabbled with menthol, I can say that that's true.
Really?
Yeah, because it eases its way in. It's not, menthol. Here's the other thing. There's a racial issue here.
Yeah, right.
4 out of 5 African Americans who smoke
smoke menthol.
menthol.
Yeah.
It is, and if you look at the ads for menthol cigarettes, they invariably show African Americans.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, the government's constantly making life harder for. Let them have their menthol cigarettes. Personally, I say. You're against it.
Well, I mean, look, I don't really know the law here, but if they said flavored cigarettes are bad except for this one flavor, it's a little hard to reconcile that, right? Why is a minty flavor somehow more acceptable than a delightful cherry or something else?
Well, there wasn't any other flavors, were there?
I don't know. There's flavored pipe tobacco, is there not? Mm-hmm. So it seems to me that there must be other flavors. I don't know what they're like a Tutti Frutti cigarette. I'm not really sure what other flavors there would have been. But if you say that flavored cigarettes are verboten, I don't see how you say except for this one because it's really popular. That seems to go against the grain of regulating it in the first place.
Just leave people alone.
Why don't they? I mean, but on the other hand, contrary-wise, why don't they force cigarettes to taste worse, and then people will be less likely to smoke?
There. That's right. That's right. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Castor oil cigarettes.
There you go.
That's what you want. You really want to make people stop? That might work.
Dip them in Brussels sprout extract.
Yeah. No, really. So, I don't know. I just
fortify them with vitamins.
Oh, man. Okay, so what's this?
Okay.
Is this okay? Did you see? This is Montgomery County, back to the eastern part of the state.
Yes.
So you got these nutcase chiefs of police in
probably a different part. Montgomery County is fairly upscale suburb of Philly.
Yeah. Suburbs.
Swing County too.
So I don't know if you saw this, but the recorder of wills in Montgomery County.
Yes.
Here's his quote. I decided.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my God!
I don't know. I just felt like doing that.
You creep! You scared me. I could have had a cardiac arrest.
Sorry. Anyway, what he actually said was.
I decided to come down on the right side of history and the right side of the law.
Yes.
And what he's going to do is he's going to, if a gay couple walks in and wants a marriage license, he's going to say, sure, here you go. Mm. Although I suspect the form...
Yes, the form says
male,
husband
female,
and wife.
And how do you fill it out?
Yeah.
But is it conceivable that this allows another test case? And in fact, the couple who was intending, a lesbian couple, 2 doctors, who I guess were going to get it, were talked out of getting it.
No.
Do you know why?
No.
Because then, if a case were to arise from it, it would be a case based on a kind of technicality that, something like that.
It sounds like the kind of, I understand. Like
it's not based on, it's not based on the sort of moral issue.
It's the job. It's his job to issue licenses under certain things, and it becomes a question of his job performance, not of the underlying law, perhaps. Yeah.
But it said it could have statewide implications. I love that he did it. I mean, he's absolutely thumbing his nose at.
Yeah.
Of course, he's a Democrat.
Yeah. Maybe with aspirations of higher office. I just, perhaps. I don't mean to sound cynical, but.
Ansel writes, you mentioned UPMC earlier. The latest commercial, oh, please, dear God, those commercials, from UPMC shows a woman on the phone with Highmark.
Oh.
The caption on the screen says, January 2015.
Dun, dun,
so this
dun,
is a
dun.
look into our future. The distraught woman is speaking with Highmark, and she is visibly upset that the Highmark representative is telling her that she can't use UPMC Passivant for her surgery.
No.
She is reduced to a number when the Highmark rep asks her for her plan ID.
Dun dun.
This is the type of commercial you would expect at election time. I'm guessing UPMC hired a political marketing company to produce these spots. I think UPMC looks bad producing these commercials. Just can't believe that the largest health insurance provider, Highmark, can't strike a deal with the largest health care provider, UPMC, which is healthcare provider. I think their recent ads, I haven't seen this one, must backfire. I think it is wrong-headed. They're threatening. Talk about using fear.
Right.
They're saying, this is 2015.
Dun dun.
You will
outside the woman's window, you see like the communist flag of China or whatever flapping in the breeze. Tanks rumbling down the street. Aliens overhead.
But if the woman in 2015 can't have the surgeon she wants with the insurance she wants,
dun, dun.
Well, it's because UPMC put her in that. But how are they blaming that on Highmark?
It's funny because I guess like that. So that's the nightmare scenario where for UPMC, the good case scenario is it's 2014 and she's on the phone crying because she can't get the doctor that she wants or whatever. Right? I feel like that's the big difference. I think UPMC's problem is just basically anything they do now
seems wrong.
It just seems wrong to people. I mean,
everything they do.
They're just at this point they have, they've been very successful or whatever. But in terms of these sort of public relations campaigns, they've just completely blown up their brand. They've just scorched it. It's burned. It's true. It's in tatters. It's real.
I mean, I don't think anyone has done a poll, have they, about people's reactions to UPMC?
The closest I've seen to that was, and unfortunately, it was a poll carried out by actually a Republican-leaning firm, but it was commissioned by people who are hostile to UPMC, so take it for what it's worth. But it basically said, would you be more or less likely to vote for a mayoral candidate if they, were undertaking legal action about UPMCs? And the vast majority of Pittsburghers said we'd be more likely. I would support that. So, I mean, they're just, they are just that unpopular at this point.
And they seem intent on becoming more so.
Yeah, I mean, I think they don't. I think it just reflects. I think it reflects the management of that place. That this is just kind of they are a hard driving, screw you,
Yeah, well, that's why I react to everything. So you just see this thing, UPMC to help Kazakhstan, and my reaction is not, oh, isn't that nice that they're going to help bring better health care to them. My reaction is, hey, you SOBs, look in your own backyard.
Yeah.
What are you doing in Kazakhstan?
Yeah. Well, a lot of sick people there. I mean, come on.
Jeez. Makes me crazy.
Yeah, I can understand why, for sure.
I'm giving him a look. Don't you patronize?
I get, the thing that sort of like mystifies me about all this is like, so what's really, who's the target for these ads exactly? Most of us,
it's to scare people who
to
have
scare
high
people.
mark
And I guess the
insurance
idea
and
is,
have a UPMC
right,
doc.
but I don't. But most of
Which
us
are a
aren't
lot
in the
of-
position. But most of us aren't in the position of choosing who our insurer is. We're not. We get our insurance is chosen for us by our corporate overlords.
Okay, but it's still putting pressure on people who will then turn and maybe put pressure on their
maybe. I mean,
on their boss.
Yeah, and fundamentally, what are we going to do in a? I mean, yes, Pittsburgh is better than many other places, but this is still a tough economy. What are you going to do? Walk out of your job if your employer makes a cost decision to go with Highmark instead of UPMC? I mean, fundamentally, I don't know. It just seems to me there would probably be better things for them to do. They ought to be, they ought to be spending the money on, lobbying the hell out of Harrisburg. And of course, there's good news on that front because Corbett's new chief of staff is the wife of UPMC's leading government lobbyist in Harrisburg.
Oh dear, I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah, Leslie Baker Groomis is her name, and her husband is the chief. He was, and it's not as if he and Corbett didn't know each other. This guy was also, before he was UPMC's chief lobbyist, he was on like a couple of the Corbett transition teams. But now it's all in the family. Everybody's all together. And this may not, people, I think a lot of people assume that, well, because Corbett intervened last time around to bring these guys together, he'll do it again. And it's not at all clear to me that it's going to play out the same way.
Well, when he had surgery a year ago or two.
Yeah.
Orthopedic surgery, I think.
Yeah.
He went to Allegheny General.
Oh.
Well, I thought that was
probably after crying on the phone because he couldn't go to Passivant.
No, I really thought that was... He was saying, I think it's a fine hospital. This is where I'm going.
Right.
Yeah. But so now he's, oh, God.
We'll see. I mean, if you look at, and I wrote about this a few weeks ago in the paper, if you look at the insurance commission's ruling essentially allowing for Highmark to acquire these hospitals, there's a lot of talk in there about how really that plan depends on patients who are going to UPMC not going to UPMC in the future. UPMC is quite right when it
Okay,
says
we
that.
got a caller.
Okay.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, I'll make it real quick. I'm hoping what will happen here with this healthcare stuff, the employers will drop everybody. They won't provide insurance. Everybody go on Obamacare. Maybe that'll make an opening for socialized medicine.
Hey!
That's what I'm after. Or put everybody on Medicare.
Yeah.
That's my idea.
Medicare for all. I hear you,
Medicare
brother.
for all. Sounds great.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah. Bye.
Thanks.
So, speaking of that, you see what these despicable Republicans are up to. They're not. We're going to get into the same debt ceiling nonsense, and they're going to not appropriate any funds. Is that something? Can they stop the?
Congress has the
healthcare?
power of the purse. Lynn.
I know the House has the power of the
That's
purse,
right. Yeah.
and they are saying they won't give 1 red cent to implement Obamacare.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you would tell me then. Does the lobby? How? They're amazing. I mean, when they lose, they refuse.
Yeah. Yeah.
They refuse the outcome.
Right. Well, they don't have.
They
I
do-
mean, because they don't have. What else do they really have to go on at this point? They're clearly incapable of formulating policy. They simply don't. A sizable chunk of their party is dedicated to the proposition that government should do nothing. So anything that they do, good or bad or whatever, alienates people who don't think government should do anything. So what else do they have except going and just doing this stuff? It's not, I don't even know that, there's a time when I used to think, wow, their principles are completely screwed up, but at least they're clinging to them. They stick to those principles. And now I just think they don't have anything else to do.
No.
What else would John Boehner be doing if he wasn't, scheduling these kind of nonsense or whatever? Does he want to talk about immigration some more? I don't think so. This is fun stuff for them. It's all they can safely do. It's their imperative to do it.
Well, it really is like watching a party go insane, isn't it? I mean,
bit.
I've never. It's just amazing. Sort of a self-destructive. It's like they're cutting themselves.
Right.
I mean, they're engaged in this self-destructive behavior, and they can't stop.
Yeah, and I think part two. I mean, when I'm feeling more optimistic, I think to myself, well, this is sort of, you're kind of seeing this weird sort of death rattle go on, and I think you can see that with things like abortion or whatever. Why is all this stuff coming up now, right? I mean, isn't it? When you really kind of step back and think about how much of this stuff is all of a sudden being thrown at us. It wasn't like this in the George Bush administration, even.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
And one potential answer I've seen for that is they're looking at, even if you look at religious voters, people who identify themselves religiously, if you look at people who are under the age of like 40, something like twice as many people identify themselves as religious progressives in that age bracket as religious conservatives. And then, of course, the even larger group is those who don't really profess any faith at all. So, whereas, of course, it's like 4 times as many religious conservatives over the age of 70. So the time is running out for them, and they're trying. This is their best shot at getting this stuff through because their position is only going to get weaker and weaker over time because, to a large extent,
they don't look beyond
destiny.
their own noses. I mean, they don't look. But what do they?
I think it's hard because again, it's really hard to say. For example, you take immigration. It's really hard if you're a Republican to say, if I do this, I'm going to get enough of these, new Latino votes or whatever, that it's going to offset the loss in my own base as it exists today. And I think it's, as much as the party seems like it's going crazy, it's a rational decision to say that's a bad calculation. A lot of those Latinos are going to reward Democrats at this point for any change in immigration law, and all that can happen to me is I alienate my own base. So there's no upside and a tremendous downside, so I'm not going to do it. And it's probably the same with these other issues as well. They don't really have anywhere else to go. And so they end up chasing their own tail. And the problem is that all the rest of us are inconvenienced because we can't have nice things like policies that would actually conceivably work.
Destruction. Just absolute destruction. Oh, God. Okay. I'm going to take a break.
Yeah.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Sewickley Med Spa is proud to announce the availability of the revolutionary Tri-Polar Apollo treatment in Pittsburgh. As seen on Dr. Oz, Tri-Polar Apollo will reduce wrinkles, tighten and firm skin on your face, neck, abdomen, and thighs. This is a non-surgical, pain-free lunchtime procedure. Call today for a free consultation, 412-259-8628, or online at SewickleyMedspa.com.
The traditional light bulb, a groundbreaking invention in 1879. It's time we switch to longer-lasting Energy Star light bulbs. They're more efficient than the old bulbs, like a text message is more efficient than a carrier pigeon. And they cut down on our energy costs. Because in our own groundbreaking age, we deserve a light bulb that saves us some cash. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
All right. Well, now I can see why the royal baby is getting such attention, because it's an understandable reaction to distract oneself from the news that actually matters, because it's also appalling.
Yeah.
Potter here just told me something I hadn't heard. You said this is a rumor.
But it's
scuttlebutt.
Credible
rumor. Yeah, from
widely reported.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And okay.
That
is that, first of all, the Federal Reserve Chairman
Ben Bernanke
is not going to be. He's done. He's going to be done at the end of whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, as you know, a hugely powerful position in which you can manipulate
all kinds
the global
of
economy, people's lives, their wages, their security, and it's hard to think of a more important job. And you're hearing that
the inside track
belongs to
Lawrence Summers,
former president of Harvard University.
Yeah, the guy who said women don't like science.
Well, everything I've ever read about Lawrence Summers suggests that he is a jerk.
Yeah.
I mean, a real jerk.
Yeah,
Nobody would argue that he's not a jerk.
And as much as I reject his sexism, I think the sort of bigger concern here is he's also been in the back pocket of the financial business for most of his career.
Well, name me a Fed chief.
Yeah, you probably have to go back to the 30s or something.
Paul Volcker.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You don't have to go back that far. But I don't know.
No, but Summers is bad.
Really.
Summers is bad. This is a guy who torpedoed an effort to regulate many of the very financial tools that caused the financial collapse of the past several years. So he's got that. He also, I've just read this morning. He also squandered $1 billion of Harvard's own endowment. Just got lost on betting on derivatives, I think, on his watch. So you just got to wonder. And the other thing too that strikes me about it is up until the past 48 hours, really, the sort of person who was considered the leading candidate for this post was,
I thought it was a woman.
A woman, Janet Yellen.
That's right.
And she was none of these folks are, going to be at the ramparts, leading,
no,
agitating for the workers, controlling the means of production.
She seemed, I was thinking that's
a sensible choice, well within sort of liberal mainstream politics, and, not somebody with a very public track record of misogynistic statements or whatever. And yet, and the thing that strikes you is, if this actually happens, I mean, the whole, much of the liberal base is going to be absolutely up in arms over this, and it's just
why
yet another.
Would he? So this is
why does he do
making
it?
Me a point. Why would he do that?
I don't know, because the rumor again, and it's all in the rumor mill. And remember that we don't know where these rumors are coming from. They could well be coming from people who are in the inner circle who are agitating for Lauren Summers and trying to put that out there or whatever. You don't know what the agenda is.
Or it could also be people in the president's orbit who don't like the idea of Summers, want it out there,
and they're sending this up so everybody blows away at it. But yeah, no, this is really something that actually has the potential to happen from everything that's being reported. And why Summers, as much as you and I may despise him and everything he represents, he has a lot of Confederates and friends of his in the inner circle there. So. And, I mean, honestly, how much of these guys, he's very much in that Robert Rubin, Alan Greenspan, mode.
The boys.
Yeah, he was one of those guys. I remember that Time magazine cover, the Committee to Save the World, and it was like three smug-looking dweebs. Yeah. It was Greenspan, Rubin, and Summers.
Well, this revolving door between high Wall Street corporate finance crowd and the head of the Fed and the SEC. And my God, I mean, this is just proverbial, the wolf watching the hen house.
And what it speaks to, and this is the part the part that kills me is, so the whisper campaign, well, what's wrong with Janet Yellen becomes the question. What she's supposedly, can you guess? Not tough enough. So what you've got is this sort of great male thing about what toughness is and how women don't really have the the cojones, and that tied into this really terribly misconceived thing about austerity policies, and we have to make sure that inflation doesn't go up, and and let's not worry about whether people actually have jobs as long as the financial interests are protected from the potential of runaway inflation eating into their earnings down the road. That's what you've got.
All right. Well, again, we're talking about such corrupted systems. Did you read the New York Times thing on Sunday about the aluminum?
I'll be honest. I really didn't understand it. I didn't understand how it works.
Either did I, kind of, but you sort of understood it.
Yeah.
That they are literally cornering a market on certain metals and other commodities, and then they're sort of holding them ransom.
Yeah.
The longer you hold them, the more it elevates the price.
Yeah.
And they're here's all you need to know. It's slowing down the economy. It's screwing consumers. And it's making them richer. And nothing is being produced.
Yeah.
And it's legal.
Yeah.
Because people like the Fed and people like the SEC say, oh, Oh, sure. That's fine for banks. Absolutely. There's no reason banks shouldn't be able to own the infrastructure of the country. Pipelines and oil tankers. Isn't that what banks do? But I mean, it all comes to the same thing.
Yeah.
These guys control it.
Yeah.
They got control.
Yeah.
They don't just control aluminum and copper and and wheat and all that. They control our government. They own our government. So why do we even bother? I mean, stop looking at me like that.
I'm just waiting to bother to do what?
Well, we sit here and moan and groan and point these things out.
Right.
And nothing changes.
Right.
Really.
No.
So I quoted Dylan yesterday. I mean, the reality is we're only
a pawn in their game. Oh, hey.
That's it.
Yeah.
And he wrote that in the 60s.
Yes.
And here we are. It hasn't changed a bit. Do you think it'll change in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years?
Yeah.
So it is maybe. Then you understand why people become cynical and don't vote and just say, well, what the hell? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you say to those people?
You
were doing good sermons last.
I know, but I'm tired now. What I say
okay.
is, my kid should have let me sleep for more than 4 hours.
Okay.
No, I mean, the problem is that kind of despair easily becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy too. It makes it easier for them.
That's true.
That's what
I always say.
It makes it easier. So we should make it as hard for them as we possibly can.
Yes, right.
Just out of sheer contrariness.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm a big believer in the power.
And self-respect.
I'm a big believer in the power of both of those things.
I don't like being a cog in their machine.
Yeah.
I don't like being a pawn in their game.
Right.
And in as much as Republicans in the House have shown us, if you don't like what this thing you're in and you don't have a lot of power, well, the least you can do is gum up the works.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the problem is the other side is perfectly content to have the works gummed up. I mean, that's where we're really at a disadvantage. What we need is some actual affirmative assertion of government authority and independence of the industries it's supposed to regulate. And it has demonstrated an unwillingness to do that.
Yeah. Well, let's get to something a little bit more fun.
Okay.
Darlene Harris.
You and I have different definitions of the word fun, I think, but...
Well, I was very nasty about her yesterday, and unfair. I mean, it was beneath me.
It must have been a good one.
No, it wasn't. It was, he was going after her for the way she looked, and that's not nice.
Yeah, no.
No. However, I said she looks stupid, and then when everything she does, it just seems stupid to me.
It is very difficult to understand what she is doing right now. That is
trying to run for mayor. So, okay. Here's what I want. How does a person like her get to where she got? I mean, she's been a very powerful person. She was head of the school board. Now she's the city council president. Does she impress anybody with her? Because you're more of, you watch the goings on over there on Grant Street. I don't. Are you aware of anybody who thinks she's brings a lot to the table, as they say? Seriously.
She's she's shrewd. She knows how.
So she's a pal. She knows how
of course,
to play.
yeah. I mean, she knows. Look, I mean, here's somebody who has been in a very short period of time on two completely different sides of council's faction. She's been on the pro-mayor side and she's been on the anti-mayor side, and she's been zealous about both of those causes. I mean,
so she has
part of her advantage is she's unfettered by the need to be consistent. So, I mean, what she did is she positioned herself, very shrewdly, again, very adroitly, in a way where she had to be that fifth vote to be the president of council. So that's how she does it.
Yeah, but looking like you're God, I can't even think of the mayor's name.
Luke Ravenstahl.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I kept coming up with Roethlisberger. Okay, Luke. I get them mixed up. I do. It's two weird long names beginning with R that are attached to young men in the public eye in our town. Yeah. Okay, I forgot what I was going to say.
Probably that
but it's not. She's not shrewd if she ends up now looking. She's positioned now as the absent mayor's. I was going to say bitch.
Proxy.
Yeah, I mean, but how's that? Nobody wants to be. Yeah. On that side now. So so how shrewd?
Well, she may. I mean, she may be looking at. You'll note she hasn't committed to a run. So.
What's she doing? You think anyone's going to give her money?
Maybe. She thinks maybe it's possible. She did get this far, and I'm not saying. I think. Look, I think if she actually ran, she would be blown out of the water.
Oh,
that's what I think. But
it'd be awful to behold.
Yeah, I mean.
But so she's delusional. And I want to thank everybody who sent me pictures of her smiling to me.
Yeah.
Because I said, she always looks so grim to me. But no, she does smile.
She will, I was at this.
But, she doesn't look much better when she smiles. I got news for her.
I was at this protest last week where they were on the Trayvon Martin people here in Pittsburgh. We're presenting a list of more than a dozen demands to City Council, to the mayor.
Right.
She did appear in the lobby of City Council to accept the
which is more than the mayor did.
Which is definitely more than the mayor did. It was a somewhat awkward, strained encounter, but it lasted less than 5 minutes, and then she went away. And one of the things that just struck me is the level of, just bottomless level of disengagement by the mayor's office. He was there in his office apparently.
It would not come out.
It would have taken 5 minutes to deal with, and he would have had. And the other thing too is, whatever you want to say about Luke Ravenstahl, when he has seen what he perceives to be bad police behavior, he's called it out. I mean, he has been sharply critical of Detective Rendy, who you may recall from the St. Patrick's Day video. He has been critical of the officer, of what happened to Jordan Miles in the past. You would think that if there was a cause where he could take 5 minutes out of his day to accept a piece of paper, this would have been it.
What do you make
so I'll
of
give
the
her props for,
What do you make of the fact that Pittsburgh was host last weekend to the Pennsylvania Mayors Association annual meeting? Are you aware of this?
Yeah, I don't make anything of it.
No, but that he didn't show?
Oh, no.
Stop and think about this for a moment.
He's done.
The Mayors Association. He's the host.
Yeah, he's done.
He doesn't show.
Yeah, he's done.
I mean, that...
He doesn't want to do it.
Unbelievable.
He snubbed his own constituents. He'll snub a bunch of mayors from some other podunk place.
Well, does he even show up? Do we know that he goes to work?
I don't really know what his schedule is. I don't think anybody does at this point, but he doesn't come in often. I mean, that's the reputation. Just a few more months.
I want to thank all of you Pittsburghers for voting for this guy the many times you did.
Well, probably not in your audience so much.
I don't know. Unbelievable. All right. Well, I'm going to force a smile. And I think we're done.
Yeah.
You have thoroughly depressed me.
Sorry. Because I was tired.
You were very funny, though.
Thank you.
Do you think you're more funny when you're tired?
I don't know. I think I'm a little looser in the sense that I don't have the same filter. So I'm either, I guess if it goes well, it goes better, but if it goes bad, it's worse. So it ups the ante.
Well, I got to get to your kid and tell him Tuesday nights you want to cause a bit of a ruckus. Come on, kid. Tuesday nights.
He was screaming at 2 o'clock in the morning. I went in. He was just ah! I went in there. All of a sudden, he got real quiet. He looked up at me and he said, "I'm not so sleepy." And then I just started laughing. I mean, like, what can you do with that? You know what I mean? Like, it's irritating as hell. I'm not so sleepy. He's not even 2.5, and he has a gift for understatement. I appreciate that about my son.
Man, I'm glad. I'm glad I be on that.
Yeah. Oh, well, I never want to do this again.
Well, thank you.
Laura writes.
I don't think you were being a jerk. She is a frumpy looking.
Jesus. Now, would you? Thanks for writing in, Lawrence Summers. Because would you be picking on what? The appearance of, say, a Bill Peduto or whatever, a male candidate?
Yeah, I have.
Would you?
I mentioned that he looks like he gained a little weight in the last. Yeah, I do. Yeah. And I've said that about Furlow. And Furlow, you could roll him down the street, play kickball.
I am out of here. I should have left 2 minutes ago. Sokolowski tomorrow?
Yeah.
Good.
Indeed. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, goodbye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.